All right. Three, two, one. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third episode of Generation 3. My name's Martin Pereira, and I'm with my two co hosts, Connor and Alex. Tonight, we have a very special guest. Right now, we have presidential candidate Phil Collins of the U.S. Prohibition Party. Say hello, Phil.
Hi, thanks for having me.
No problem, man. Why don't you introduce yourself to everyone?
Okay. I have a BA in political science, and this last month I finished a master's in public administration. I was in the Navy 21 years, like 6 months near Baghdad. I've held one elected office. When I lived near Chicago, I was elected to be a township trustee, a nonpartisan race. I spent about $10 in my campaign, and I beat two incumbents.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've heard the nomination for you has been a rocky one. I've heard that there's been two other Prohibition Party nominees. Can you tell us about that whole ordeal?
Oh yes, the first one nominated in November 2018. That was Bill Bays, and a few months later, he decided to drop out of the race. And then C.L. Ganem was the presidential candidate, and I was the vice presidential candidate. And in July of 2019, he decided to drop out. I think because of health reasons, but he didn't tell me all the details. So
Uh-huh.
in August 2019, our party held a conference call and nominated me to run for president.
That's awesome. How does it feel to be a presidential candidate of such a minor party?
It feels pretty good
I
because
mean,
it's such
yeah,
an old party. It's 151 years old, and I think I'll get more votes than our candidate got it 4 years ago.
really. What makes you think that?
Because 2016, we're only on the ballot in 3 states. At this time, we'll be on the ballot in 4 states: Colorado, Vermont, Arkansas, and Tennessee. And it'll be on the ballot in one territory, Guam. They
Mm,
don't have any electoral votes, but they'll have a straw poll, so they'll still count votes.
that's awesome.
And I know I'll be a write-in candidate in Iowa, Pennsylvania, New York, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and parts of Tennessee and Illinois. And I'm going to fill out some forms to try and make sure I'll be a write-in candidate in Washington State, Maryland, Minnesota, and Nebraska.
That's so interesting to hear, man. I just want to can you tell us what's the day-to-day life of running such a minor, no offense, right? But a minor presidential campaign.
Well, since it's minor, most days I don't have to do much. Sometimes I get uh, questions through my Facebook page or the party's Facebook group, and ask questions about our stand on the issues. You just answer the questions or ask them to check the Prohibition Party website, because there's a page that has detailed information about the platform.
What would you say the number one question you receive is?
Probably whether we support having another amendment to the Constitution like 100 years ago, which would ban the sale of all alcohol in the country.
Mhm.
And when I get that question, I tell them that the answer is no, because in the current platform, it says that we want the local governments to pass restrictions about that, and
Mm.
currently we don't support any federal law about it.
That's interesting to hear. I didn't. I only glanced through the party platform, but I was just wondering, like, would you go through like a war of drugs situation, and like just in general, what are your thoughts on the war on drugs?
I think it's okay because cocaine and heroin have killed a lot of people,
Mhm.
and and marijuana is harmful to people.
Earlier this week on our Instagram, we did like a quick viewers can ask questions to you, and a lot of the questions from our viewers, which are primarily Generation Z, were about marijuana. And there's like two different questions that I got, and one of them was, "What are your stances on medical marijuana?" And then the second part to that was, "What are your stances on recreational marijuana?" Which I think you answered before, but specifically medical marijuana. What are your stances on that?
Our platform says that they think medical marijuana is okay. We oppose the sale and use of drugs except for medicinal use as regulated by the FDA.
So I've another question from a viewer, and it says, "How will you avoid the problems that came with the amendment on the Constitution, the prohibition, the first time?"
Well, I guess that person didn't know that currently we don't support a federal law to ban alcohol, so so I don't see that problem happening. We want local rules more like from state and county governments about restricting the days and times that alcohol can be sold, and ensuring that police departments make sure that stores enforce well the current laws about selling to people under 21. Make sure that
Mhm.
never happens.
The platform of the prohibition party is to get the states to ban alcohol or to enforce the current rules. What are the what would you say if someone asked you, what are your stances on alcohol? Do you want it completely banned?
Platform says we believe a sustained program of education legislation building from the local to the national is the best way to strengthen community disapproval of drug indulgence and enable a return to the national prohibition of all recreational drugs.
And what actually made you support this in the first place? Was there something that happened in your life, or do you always support this? Why are these your views?
I've heard that the alcohol can be harmful. When I was in the Navy, I knew someone who drank too much and he passed out, and I forgot all the details, but I know it caused him to have a heart problem, and he threw up and he died. He was 22.
Oh, gee, I'm
Mm.
sorry for your
A-
loss.
And the party has uh, 10 issues on the platform. I agree with most of that. Like it says they're pro-life
Mhm.
and pro-Second Amendment, and we support lower federal tax rates, lower spending. There should be a balanced budget amendment, U.S. Constitution. I think a country should enforce border security laws better. Because the 10th Amendment, we think that education should be left to the state and local governments instead of the federal government. So it's not just that one issue that I care about a lot. There are several issues that cause me to like this party.
So, I'm guessing from when this incident happened, when you were, I'd s- when you saw your friend who was 22 die of alcohol poisoning, I'm presuming this led you to be a prohibitionist, correct?
No, not right away. I didn't know much about the party at that time.
What led you to the party, and what led you to join the party?
It was about 6 years ago. A friend of mine told me about the party, and he knew that I agreed with most of the platforms and suggested I become involved. At the time, I lived near Chicago, and he said I could be the leader of the party for Illinois. There's probably no one else in the party in Illinois, so I did that.
If you were elected president, what would be the first thing you do?
I think in my inauguration speech, I'd include some statistics about how many people die of alcohol-related causes each year. like heart attacks and cancer. And soon after that, I proposed a budget which includes some things that are platform, lower tax rates, and lower spending, especially Department of Education.
When you say lower spending in the Department of Education, can you explain why specifically you would want to lower spending in the Department of Education?
The 10th Amendment says all power is not reserved for the federal government, and the Constitution are reserved for the states, the people. The Constitution doesn't mention education, so that department is unconstitutional.
Would you want education to be run on the state level then, or?
Yes.
So in recent events, you've seen for sure coronavirus be one of the main problems our nation is going through right now. How would you handle coronavirus if you got elected on November 3rd?
I don't know. I'd probably get suggestions from more doctors and scientists than Trump has been doing. Make sure and get a lot of different views on the subject.
Would you trust officials like Dr. Fauci then, or like other conservatives? Would you be more wary of people like that?
I at least consider his ideas, but I want to hear from other people too.
Like more doctors or
Yes,
economists or yeah, okay,
doctor,
okay.
and maybe a few economists too. Their theories about what would happen to the economy if more businesses were shut down a lot, like what happened this year.
Changing subject to the debates, do you wish you could be on that stage to propose your platform to the people of the United States?
Yes, that
And then
would have been great.
And then also, what are your thoughts on the last debate with Chris Wallace, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden? Do you have any thoughts you'd be willing to share with us about that?
Yes, I think that Trump interrupted way too much, and that probably didn't help him get any votes doing that. Some people probably thought he was being rude.
How would your debate strategy be different to navigate Trump and Biden on the stage?
I just answer questions according to the Prohibition Party platform, reminding people about harmful effects of drugs and ensuring that the federal government would balance their budget better, which that hasn't happened for past 25 years.
And as a prohibitionist, what are your thoughts on the current president, just in general?
I think he's okay. He doesn't drink alcohol. That's good. I think he's fiscally too liberal. I think every budget he signed increased spending, so that increased the deficit, increased the debt.
So, would you say the Prohibition Party is more conservative than the Republican Party?
I know, maybe about the same. Our platform says we care a lot about the environment. I don't think the Republican platform mentions that.
It does not. Speaking of the
Yeah.
environment, this is a big deal to Generation Z in particular. Uh, how would you implement policies to benefit the environment?
I don't know exactly details about how we do it. Platform says we will safeguard the biosphere, soil, water, and air, which all must share. However, pollution abatement projects must balance costs with benefits. America must not allow itself to be dependent upon other sometimes hostile countries for its energy supply. So, yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to tell Generation 3, or sorry, not Generation 3, Generation Z, our viewers, our listeners, to persuade them to vote for you in this upcoming election?
I just appreciate if they read our whole platform website, www.prohibitionparty.org/platform. Not enough people have read the whole thing, and if they read it, then able to see that they agree with most of it. And I appreciate the like our Facebook page of the party and my campaign to see updates about in which states I'll be a write-in candidate in case we get to add some. That way, if someone wants to vote for me, they can find out whether they're able to do that in their state.
Is there anything else that you'd like to say? Last remarks before we close out here?
No, I can't think of anything else. Thanks for
Awesome.
interviewing me.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, Phil. We'll make sure to post this. This will be up on Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern. We appreciate you coming out. Thank you very much. And we'll make sure to get the word out to our friends about your campaign.
Rob, thank you.